Friends, welcome to another episode of Day Out with a Star. The platform here we share the amazing story of grassroots professionals who are doing amazing things for environment, development, and every sector of the economy. And that's why I'm today very honored to have with me Connor Tidd. Hi, Connor.
Hello.
Connor is the co-founder of Just Verticals, a startup in the sustainability sector, and he's also an alumni of the Masters in Sustainability Management program from University of Toronto. Connor, before I go deep into your Just Verticals and what you all do, this is my favorite question. Who is Connor?
It's not such an easy question to get started with. But if I did to define myself shortly, I would say, I'm a young person dedicated to making sure that when I do have kids one day, that they come into a better planet than I was born into.
Right.
And I hope I have some fun along the way.
No, but yeah, tell me, let's go a little back into your life story in the childhood days, which became an inspiration to do something different. Tell me more about it.
Yeah, so I grew up in Canada, just outside Toronto, uh,
Uh-huh.
in a typical suburban home.
Right.
And when I was younger, I was always interested in the outdoors. I spent a lot of time out in the forest, camping.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say was really what I consider my turning point that got
Uh-huh.
me into this field was when I was in high school. I took a trip to Costa Rica,
Okay.
where I went and lived in the mountains in Costa Rica for 2 weeks.
Wow.
In an eco village where they grew all their own food, they raised
Uh-huh.
all their own animals, everything was built by hand.
Right.
A completely different way of life
Right.
than what I was used to, right? I was used to, you go to the grocery store, everything's packaged up, and
Uh-huh.
uh, seeing that it was possible to live a low impact lifestyle. It was possible to live differently.
Right.
Really got me started on this journey. So when I
Uh-huh.
came back from there, I actually started working on a small scale organic farm, which was my first foray into
Wow.
farming food. Uh,
Okay.
where they didn't believe in using any
Uh-huh.
mechanized equipment, any pesticides, any fertilizers. Uh,
Yeah.
it was backbreaking work for sure. It was a
Wow.
lot of work, but I learned a lot. And then
Uh-huh.
on the other side of food, I went from there to working in a vegan organic restaurant that focused on actually creating zero food waste.
Wow.
So, I saw that, okay, this could be implemented. We could grow the food. We could use the food in a way that
Right.
that made sense. And then from there, I went and did my undergrad at McGill University.
Wow.
And
That's an amazing university there.
thank you. Yeah. So I did my undergrad there in environment, and I actually thought I was going to be an environmental lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Wrote the LSATs, applied to law school, got in, and actually
Okay.
ended up going instead to the Masters of Science in Sustainability Management program at the University of Toronto.
Right. Yeah, and that's how like I got connected with you because one of my teachers is right there, and so that's an amazing thing. Tell me, why did you select this program as compared to other sustainability program?
Yeah, so there was two ways I looked at it. As I mentioned before, I was looking at it, was I going to go to law school and do the legal route? And what I
Mm-hmm.
found was, if I really want to affect change,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, the law, as we all know, moves very slowly. Policy can move very slowly. So I said,
Right.
if I'm going to affect change, I need to go into a program that's going to support that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I was looking at sustainability management programs,
Mm-hmm.
what really drew me to the MScSM program versus any other was MScSM at the University of Toronto. Shashi, the entire management staff, the administrative staff there, really believes in empowering their students to create change. And
Right.
for me, and for anyone considering it, if
Mm-hmm.
you're going into this field, my number one question is, how are you going to create change, and
Right.
what's the best way to get there? And that's what MScSM did for me.
Wow. Tell me like a couple of unique features of the program.
Yeah. So we'll start with the academics. It's
Okay.
from an academic point of view, it's incredibly interdisciplinary. You'll cover everything from accounting to business strategy to environmental science. They're
Mm-hmm.
really equipping you with the knowledge tools
Mm-hmm.
to lead a successful career in the sustainability space.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they've created that core curriculum that they've based on feedback from real business leaders saying this is what we want our future employees to have.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also give you some flexibility in there to also pursue your own interests. So
Right.
if you are heavily focused on the policy, you can take those academic courses that get you there. Or
Mm-hmm.
if you're heavily focused on carbon accounting,
Mm-hmm.
you courses that get you there. And
Right.
then there's the personal side as well.
Mm-hmm.
This program has been designed to create leaders, is what it's been designed for. It's you're not going to be another rank and file employee, and this
Right.
comes out both in the way the administration interacts with you as
Mm-hmm.
a student, in the way they will take an hour out of their day to sit down and flesh out your interests, your questions, where you want to be in 5 years,
Yes.
but also the support that they can throw behind you.
Mm-hmm.
In my time there, I had the opportunity to go to one of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change's Conference of the Parties.
Okay.
Being a graduate student with very little money and being in
Right.
Toronto and the conference is in Morocco, I came to them and said, I've got this very unique opportunity, but I don't have the money to get me there. And they said, you know what, let us handle that.
Mm-hmm.
And a day later, I don't know how Professor Kant does this, but he always seems to find me to get.
I know.
And 2 days later, I was on a plane to Africa to go
Wow.
and speak at this conference, and it's that kind of support for us as a group and as an individual student is hard to find in any academic program.
Wow. That's really unique for any program to support you to the hill. That's amazing. Like when you entered the program, what was your career goals, and were you able to achieve those goals going through the program?
So it's interesting because when I went into the program, I never thought I would be where I am now.
Yes, that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Yeah, so when I went in, I remember, so as part of the program, there is a work placement for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember going in a little younger, a little more naive, and I went to our careers officer, Claire Westgate, and I said, Claire, put me in the biggest polluter. I want to go, agriculture. I want to go oil sands. I want to go to one of these big energy guys. I was convinced 4 months in there, I can change everything. Short story, I did not change everything, but I did have the opportunity. I went and I worked for Bayer Crop Science, a large agriculture company.
Okay.
And I was actually there when they announced the offer to buy Monsanto.
Oh, wow.
The most hated company in the world.
Right.
So it gave me a very unique perspective on how decision making is taken in these large organizations.
Right.
And what I found was there's a lot of corporate inertia. There's a lot of red tape in these giant corporations to getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because they don't know the answer. It's just so massive.
Right.
So I said, if I want to create the change that we are with Just Vertical, I'm going to have to do this independently. So that's why I ended up taking the startup route.
No, exactly. And that's so unique about this program, that this program is like not very old, and yet it could produce an entrepreneur like you. Tell me more about it.
Yeah. So I think a big part of it while you're there is the programming and the support. Mm-hmm. But it's like Professor Khan says, he's creating a family with this program, and us launching our own company. Mm-hmm. The connections, the introductions, and even the name recognition for such a young program has been incredible. I mean, it's down to the keynote speaker from when we were in the MScSM program recently bought one of our units and had us come out and
Wow.
install it for them. And it's, seeing that this program can create these lasting connections that are beneficial to us beyond students, but as professionals and as people.
Right. No, that's an amazing thing to say. What will you suggest to students who are like who want to get into a master's program in sustainability?
Yeah, so when we're speaking broadly about getting into sustainability, I'd say that they should find meaning in their work.
Right.
Often it's not an easy field to be in all the time. It's
Right.
we like to think of it as all sunshine and rainbows and saving the oceans and the trees, but a lot of the time you're trying to create change that may be unpopular or maybe uncomfortable for people. So those days where you get 10 no's in a row, you've got to be able to find meaning in what you're doing beyond the paycheck.
Right.
Really believe in it, and then when you're looking for that program, that master's program, that's going to be the next step for you. Don't be afraid to reach out to former students, to administrators,
Exactly.
and see if it's the right fit for you.
Right. No, that's great, and that's why we have created this Day Out with the Star platform, where like prospective fans, students, and everyone can reach out to mentors like you. So that would be an amazing thing to do.
Yeah, and it's a great platform. I've talked to so many people over the years who have always said, I wish I had the opportunity to talk to someone. So anyone watching this, feel free to reach out. That's what we're here for.
Yes, exactly. Let's get right onto your target, your Just Works. How did it all came about?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, when I was working at Bayer and they made that offer by Monsanto, seeing that, we need to change the agriculture system. We're adding way more people to the planet. We're creating far too much food waste. We're using far too many resources. And I was in Toronto before I moved to Geneva for 4 months. And I sat down with the man who's now my co-founder, Kevin, and he had come back from doing 4 months of research in the Canadian Arctic. And he said, there's all this great technology. There's this hydroponic technology. We can grow vertically. It uses 99% less water. You can install it in someone's home. It's easy to use, but no one's leveraged this properly in a residential setting. So that was kind of the seed of it. And it originally started as an academic project. We set one unit up in an academic building and people loved it. Like, where can I buy one? How can I get one? And then we joined one of the University of Toronto's incubators, and it's taken off from there. We're now on our second iteration of the product.
Wow.
In figuring out how to grow, how to acquire customers, investors, and dealing with all the challenges that you see in the startup world.
I know there must be real challenges out there. Can you share some story about challenges that you have faced?
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. There are a ton of challenges, and they're always changing, right? The challenge from 0 to 1 customer is much different than the challenge of 1 to 100 customers.
Right.
Some of the things, being a student and starting a company right out of university, there's a lot of challenges in both acquiring customers and investors of the question of inexperience, right?
Exactly.
We're saying we project our company to do $10 million in sales next year, and they're saying, well, you're 25. What do you know about running a $10 million a year company?
Yes.
So there is, it's almost the fake it till you make it. You got to go out there. You got to be confident in yourself and your solution. And a lot of it comes down to really believing in your company, believing in what you're doing, and getting customers, getting investors, getting stakeholders on board with your passion as well as your business. And passion can go a long way in the early days. And what I always like to tell our investors or our customers is they're always worried about the 2 years down the road. I'm like, listen, let's get through the next 6 months first. And
Exactly.
if you think we're not doing it then, that's all right. We'll deal with it.
Yes. No. Tell me more about your first product, Ava. I think that's the product, right?
Yeah,
What does it do?
So the Ava is it's the first one we've completely built ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So we had a previous generation where we actually licensed intellectual property from other users.
Right.
And that allowed us, the first version allowed us to get to market very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
It allowed us to test the product, test the concept, right? Of we think this is a great idea, but are people willing to put money down? That's always the question.
Mm-hmm.
And then we took all their feedback and we built the Ava.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Ava, what we've done is we've married the science, the sustainability,
Mm-hmm.
but also the design. Right?
Mm-hmm.
We've taken this from something that just grows greens, grows food in your house,
Right.
and put it into something that actually looks good while doing.
Mm-hmm.
It doubles as living art, but at the same
Wow.
time, it can grow 10 pounds of food a month, uses 99% less water, no pesticides, and
Mm-hmm.
next to no fertilizers.
Wow, that's really amazing. I know you must be really believing in your product.
Well, yeah, you have to.
You have to, right?
Yes.
But like, what is the secret of funding? Like, there's so many people in the environment sector who'd like to start their own business. Is there any secret out there that they should know?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest secret to funding is really getting ready and being okay with hearing no a lot of times before you hear yes, right?
Right.
You never know. You could be on your 99th no, and the next one will be a yes. You've just got to keep going through it.
Right.
As long as you've got to get the basics right, though.
Mm-hmm.
And even with an environmental company, we all want to make a difference. But when we're talking to investors, we're talking about getting funding. It still does need to be a business at its core.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I look at it is, if I want to scale the impact I can have,
Right.
it's got to make sense as a core business, as well as making sense for the planet and for people.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have your basics. You got to have your business plan. It's got to be sound. It's got to be reviewed. You've got to have your pitch deck.
Mm-hmm.
And you really got to know it inside and out. You're going to get bombarded with questions,
Right.
and you're going to get torn apart by investors.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's their job, right? Is to try and poke holes
It's
in
their
that.
money, right?
Exactly. So, and it's not always a bad thing, right? A lot of them like to say, how many holes can I poke in it? And they might say, you've got 10 problems, but I know how to fix them all. Let's do the deal.
Right.
But you've got to be resilient and push through.
Tell me like a little story about like one of your most successful customer who really believed in your product.
Yeah. So the customer that I think really turned us from being like, this is just an idea, to wow, yeah, we are actually a company now.
Right.
Was we actually built an entire farm inside a residence building, a residence for students at the University of Toronto.
Wow.
And the way this came about was we got asked to present to the Board of Governors about entrepreneurship at U of T.
Right.
And it just so happened that one of those people on the board, we didn't know about this before going in, worked for food services, and they're like, this is amazing.
Right.
Implement this. They referred us to someone else in the department. We went in and we pitched the Department of Food Services.
Right.
And they said, you know what, let's take a walking tour of campus. Let's see what areas are suitable for a farm.
Right.
And while we were walking, we found an area inside a cafeteria that had a bunch of empty drink fridges.
Okay.
And drink fridges were just running. There was nothing in them, so it's a waste of electricity.
Right.
And also a waste of space. And I said, you know what, guys? We could put an entire farm in there.
Wow.
And that farm's going to save you 250,000 liters of water a year.
Wow.
And of course, we had their sustainability lead on the tour, and he said, we just spent $100,000 putting in low flow shower heads.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this is way more water than any of those. And
Uh-huh.
we went ahead, we retrofitted the space, and we built an entire indoor urban farm that now runs 365 days a year.
Wow.
They were our first big customer, and
Uh-huh.
they really did. They took a risk on us, saying,
Mhm.
let's see if this technology works in an industrial application, and it did.
Right. No, that's an amazing story. This is like I know there are so many professionals who will hear this story, will put it on YouTube, and this is an example that will really, really perk them up.
Well, happy to hear it. If I can encourage anyone else to get going, we need all the help we can get in the sustainability space. So.
Exactly. But tell me, is it more difficult to champion sustainability than rather work in safe areas like finance and IT sector? What would you advise to like young professionals who would like to create impact in this sector and this sector alone?
Yeah, so it can be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
And the best way to make it easier for themselves
Mm-hmm.
is to understand the language that these other people speak, right? And this is a
Right.
big thing we have to do is
Right.
if I'm speaking to someone, they want to set up an urban farm, but I
Mm-hmm.
know they're a finance person.
Mm-hmm.
I may, I'll talk about the sustainability, but I'm going to emphasize the ROI, the savings that they can make, the
Right.
cost benefit of this. And a lot of it with sustainability is you're in this weird intersection of, policy and economics and politics and science. And you've
Mm-hmm.
got to know just a little bit about each of these sectors.
Exactly.
And when you talk to them, talk in a way that they understand with the sustainability aspect as well.
Right. Yeah, it's like you can no longer be just an activist, right?
Yeah, that's right. Like the activist days, to make true difference are unfortunately behind us. I wish that's all I could do, but it's
Right.
now. You've got to sell sustainability.
Exactly, exactly. And like seeding entrepreneurial spirit, like you have been like a TV chef, a Chinese game show participant, you spoke at the United Nations, and you have lived around the world. How do you see this entrepreneurial spirit among the new crop of environmental students?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's what I see a lot among younger environmental professionals is they're willing to take on any challenge or any opportunity. And what really blows me away is the way that these young people can find opportunity in anything, right?
Right.
They get given a problem, and it's not just how do we solve it, it's how do we solve it and go beyond it to make the world a better place. And it's a lot of the time saying yes to, whether it's taking on a new challenge or something as simple as, yes, I'll go to that conference and that networking opportunity, going above and beyond.
Right.
They find new ways to innovate, new ways to change, and they
Mm.
can really read between the lines, see things that a lot of people who we might not have seen these changes 20 years ago.
Right. No, I completely hear you on that. So, like, I just want to go to the broader question, like, uh, how can ordinary people achieve extraordinary things in life? What is the path towards success?
Yeah, so it's the path towards success it's definitely not linear. There's a lot of ups and downs, right? And
Right.
it's for me, it's you've got to have a goal in mind,
Mm-hmm.
and start. That might be the lofty goal. It might be years away,
Right.
but start today.
Yeah.
What can you do today? What can you do this week?
Mm-hmm.
And just a lot of it is almost a question of faith, of saying, these little things are going to add up one day to me achieving that goal. And it might not be clear to you on day one. It might not be clear to you on day 100 of doing these little things. but day by day you're moving towards that goal, and it really is it's a game of inches. There's
Exactly.
no,
Mhm.
you like to see it dramatized in movies or blogs that there's these overnight successes
Mhm.
or breakthrough successes.
Mhm.
There really aren't. It's you've got to struggle. You've got to get there. Uh, but never stop believing that you can get there. And you
Right.
know, if you end up three-quarters of the way there, you're still three-quarters of the way better than you were when you started.
No, I completely hear you on that. What has been the role of mentors in your success?
Yeah, so mentors have been big for us.
Mhm.
Helping us avoid
Mhm.
a lot of the common pitfalls of entrepreneurship or of building a business.
Mhm.
Um, but what they've done more than anything else is they've championed us. It's almost like I
Right.
like to say sometimes a mentor and a champion may even be different roles, but
Yes.
by bringing us up to other people, by
Mhm.
talking about us when we're not around, telling their friends, or
Right.
providing us with opportunities, and in a lot of ways our mentors or our champions have
Mhm.
put their reputation on the line to get
Mhm.
us to the next level. So believing in us. Like when we talked about our first customer, we only got to present to the board of governors because one
Right.
of our mentors said, "You
Mhm.
guys have a great story. You've got a great product. I
Mhm.
think these people should hear it," and sent
Mhm.
us there. Right? Otherwise, they'd never want to listen to us, two grad
Right.
students.
No, I completely hear you on that. And like, I have a question from Nick Tid. He says, with all the success Connor has thus far, what does the next 5 year look like?
The next 5 years, hopefully moving a lot faster towards our goals here. It's talk about that struggle. We don't want to struggle for too long. But when we started this company, we set out with a 8 billion before 8 billion goal, saying before the 8 billionth person is born, we
Hmm.
want to eliminate 8 billion food miles, save
Hmm.
8 million liters of water, and grow 800,000 pounds of local food. And I would like to hit that within 5 years because there's a good chance the 8 billionth person is going to be born by then.
Right.
And actually, after this is years down the road, but after just vertical, I would actually like to go into algae as animal feed. There's
Oh, wow. Okay.
there's actually it's unfortunate, but the consumption of meat's not going away. But there's
Hmm.
actually ways to drastically reduce methane emissions, GHGs.
Hmm.
Carbon markets aren't there for me to get into it yet, but 5 years from now, hopefully that's where you'll find me.
No, and as we talked about, next time I'll bring your customers right here and hold on you to that.
Hopefully,
No, it's an amazing thing that you're doing, and you have that in you. I can see the passion in you for doing something different. Tell me, Connor, what is your legacy that you want to leave behind?
oh, geez, legacy. Hopefully, I don't need to worry about leaving a legacy for another 50 years. But um, for me, it would be really empowering people to
Hmm.
lead better lives, right? Every time we sell one of our units, one of the Avas, what
Right.
we do it as beyond a sale is we're empowering these people to eat healthier, to grow their own food, to
Hmm.
cook at home, to mitigate food waste, uh,
Hmm.
to lead a better lives for themselves, their families, their communities, uh, in the world at large. Right? Nobody needs to remember my name, but as long as they've got the product and they're growing at home, that's enough for me. I'll go retire on a beach somewhere.
No, and I pray that like it's not be just be for Canada. This is a product that is for the entire world, right?
Yeah, that's it. And we're working on the North American market today, but we're hoping to
Mhm.
hit Europe in 2019 and be global by 2020.
No, uh, I know that you will do it, Connor. You have the passion and you have the uh, everything going for you. I have some more questions right here. Uh, Andrew Robert Garrick. He's asking, what plants, vegetables can be produced using your units?
Yes, it's a good question. We've tested over 60 different varieties.
Mm-hmm.
So herbs grow really well, leafy greens. But what's fun for us as scientists is playing around with the cool stuff. So ghost peppers are what we're doing right now.
Oh,
Uh,
wow. Okay.
yeah, really cool varieties of tomatoes or kale that you can't get in the grocery store
Mm-hmm.
because they're not designed to survive the modern supply chain.
Mm-hmm.
Or we did baby pumpkins for an elementary school for Halloween last year as a special request.
Wow.
But generally anything except for rooting vegetables. So no potatoes or carrots.
Uh-huh.
Uh, they don't grow too well. They will grow, but not very well. But the rest is fair game.
That's amazing that yeah, you are so flexible that you can use anything, so you can just adapt it to the environment that you're working with, right?
Yes, yes.
Right. That's great. I have another question here from Liam Tid, is asking, tell me about a recent challenge you faced while working on this project, and how did you overcome it?
Oh, geez, recent challenge. They happen every day. So I mean, like, let's go for today, for example, is
Uh-huh.
we're going out to a conference in Vancouver and being a bootstrapped, underfunded company. It's
Uh-huh.
the question of how do I get to Vancouver? How
Uh-huh.
do I get my unit there? How do
Uh-huh.
I show it off to customers in a way that appeals to them? And
Uh-huh.
how do I generate sales? And it's like, I know I've got to make the decision by the end of the day, and it's like I find out at 9 a.m.
Uh-huh.
I can't ship a unit there. I
Mhm.
just don't have time. So then
Mhm.
it's like, how do I, if I want to create this change, like how do I sell customers on a unit when it's not there? So it's like all of a sudden I'm down a rabbit hole of finding holograms of that can project the units that people can interact with it, 3D printing.
Uh,
But all these challenges that we face, something like that, or securing investment, I view
right.
those all as sustainability chain challenges.
Mhm.
Because if I can sell another unit, or if I can scale my company, I can scale my sustainability impact.
Right.
If I could just face pure science sustainability
Mhm.
challenges every day of the week, that'd be great. I love solving the science questions. It's the people questions that are difficult.
Yes. No, I think there are real hard questions out there, but people like you who come and create real hard solutions also. So, uh, and yeah, let me really thank the MScSM program of University of Toronto for connecting with you. So and like students there who are listening to this program, this is like another management 001 for sustainability. So go ahead, watch this interview, and let me really thank Connor for being here. Connor, thank you so much for coming to my show.
All right, thank you for having me. It's been my pleasure, and of course, thanks to the U of T and the MScSM program for connecting us.
Yeah, and if anyone have more questions on Connor's work, they can go to his website. I think this is just vertical.com, right?
Perfect. Yes, that's it.
Yeah, that's where you should go. You can connect with him, and you can also go to our website, dayoutwithastar.com. And if you leave your questions right there, I will just like chase Connor to get an answer for you for that. I'm Chandrakishore, founder of Day Out with a Star platform, signing off. Thank you, Connor. Thank you again.
Thank you.